after 4 or 5 sessions of us saying the same thing, that it's even Stevens game, nobody is ahead, nobody is taking advantage. After a long gap, I can finally say, and I'm ready to take on any opposition on that India have moved ahead comfortably in this test match, where they sit at the moment 304 runs with 6 wickets in hand. They hold all the aces. Of course, test cricket is a funny game, things can go anywhere, but what Rahul and Rishabh Pant have done in the second innings means it's the Indian team that will enjoy their English tea with some muffins and scones and whatever else is served in high tea in England more than the home team in England. Anyone who's ready to debate me on that?
See, they have to be watching another match. If you're watching this match, there can't be any opposition. So that's the only way you're finding an opponent over there to take on.
I knew that. That's why I threw open challenge. If it was anything that could have been debated, I wouldn't have been so confident in throwing open the challenge.
But yeah, it was entertaining. Yeah, we should have done predictions for this. I didn't quite see this coming. Such domination. If the first session was good, we're into the 4th day of the test match. Everything's been so evenly split. It was hard to argue. If there was one session that was dominated in the manner that this session was dominated by the Indian team, and in 4 days cricket, as an Indian fan, if I was to look, today is the happiest time to be right now. This was complete utter domination, and I liked what I saw over there from both KL Rahul, Karun Nair just came in now, but more so from Rishabh Pant. Of course, just as Sunny I think I was also expecting for those somersaults to happen, but they didn't. But whatever had happened prior to that moment was stunning, and as we go on in this conversation, we'll talk about the finer things about both the batters, but this was just too good from the Indian batters. And that's the balance you get when you've got an aggressor like a Pant. KL Rahul can play the way that he did, and can I tell you honestly, I've been liking KL Rahul the way he's been playing. I was looking at his control percentage. He's got a 92% control rate right now of his shots. In Test cricket in England, that's difficult in any innings, as we know. So we'll dwell into the thought.
That 8% they deducted for that drop chance that he gave. So otherwise, it would have been 100%.
Just if you ask me, perhaps only one ball, barring that incident, just the one ball on which he was a little bothered per se, was when he was closing on his 100, and this is a ball from Bashir that just turned a bit and he had to get his bat in. Otherwise, I think the guy is looking good for a daddy 100 over here.
No, so 92% no control rate.
92%.
So 6% were deducted for that drop chance, 2% for the Bashir.
And I obviously had to bring that in because we spent the entire evening talking percentages. so yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, those percentages will be coming our way a little later. We're working on something interesting that will, we put out on Sports Today later. But getting back to the test match, and as for the celebration, I think he told Sunny that I'll do it later. Maybe he's looking after his back. We don't want him to have a bad back. He has to keep as well, yeah. He has to bend, keep the back,
and the
knee. Everything has to be looked after going forward in this test match.
We heard now, tongue was constantly going after his knee. Maar ke suja diya. He said that twice. Maar ke suja diya.
Maybe that is why the somersault.
Knee swollen.
Because
couple of times today also used it.
Because he said it in the broadcast, you could clearly. He said, "एक ही जगह मारे जा रहा है, एक ही जगह
मारा जा रहा है, सुझा दिया." Did you hear that conversation as well? Gill yesterday was Rishabh, नहीं, तू सीधा मारेगा, मैं ready रहूँगा, तू बता सीधा, नहीं, सीधा नहीं. Stump mic is a gift to the game.
No, but stump mic with Rishabh Pant around is a gift.
Absolutely.
A stump mic is there for a lot of other people, but when Rishabh Pant is there, then the stump mic is there. It's great fun. We'll get to the 2 innings, but I think, as I said, what I pointed out earlier as well in our lunch show, that I think India in that first session were just thinking of consolidating, and the first target that they would have in their mind would have been 300. Now they've gone past that, so they've got a 300 run lead. Even if, I mean, it's not happening that even if India were to be dismissed in the next 20 runs, or even if there'd be a collapse worse than the one that we saw in the first inning, even then what they've got already is going to challenge the England team. I'm not saying this is a match winning total or this is a safe total. England could chase it down as well, but what they've got already is something that will bother the opposition team. They've already got that. Now going forward with they have the luxury of time. I'd say that they don't even have to think. Again, if you're not all out, you don't have to think of declaration even at the end of the day. I think declaration will only cross their mind. They'll bat maybe an hour and a half on day 5 and then think of declaration. So right now sitting with 304 run lead, and you've got 6 wickets in hand, so you're effectively looking at minimum, 100 runs, 120 runs
Absolutely.
120 runs in the final session, which takes your lead to 420 odd, 425. Again, with the asterisk that you don't get dismissed and there's no collapse, which I don't see happening. 420 runs, 9.5 times out of 10, you are not going to lose the match. And even if you have England play baseball, whatever, Stoke ball, whatever ball that you can think of, chasing that down would be next to impossible. Let's not even get into the factor of India playing with a Jasprit Bumrah, who is a cheat code. Let's not even get into the factor of there being some cracks that have developed in the pitch. Let's not get into the factor of the scoreboard pressure. All of that put together, it's going to be very tough for England. So right now, I think India's first aim is going to be to eliminate England win result. And how you do that? Bat this entire session. Runs will automatically come, 100 odd runs will definitely come. You're 400 plus. Then think if you want to bat an hour or not bat an hour. But I think they will bat an hour or so. You give a more than 450 sort of a target. Yeah, tomorrow. 450
India,
sort of a
this
target.
is where I want to know from you two learned people. Can India afford to? Are they in a position at the moment with wickets in hand? Can they afford to be a little adventurous here? Push for an India win even more and look for a declaration today?
No, not today.
I don't think so.
Not
Can India?
No.
No. Not at all. No, and I don't think India will do that. Because as I said, why would you want to allow a foot in the door to the opposition? Not at all. Shut that door down as in you can't win. And then there are only 2 results. Either you're winning or you're taking home a draw. So you got to be 100% certain. You don't have a luxury of another innings.
The one thing you get. The one thing you get.
England have that luxury of batting second and then chasing down whatever total. So then you end up giving that sort of a chance for England to chase. Why? See, again, as I said, even if England play baseball, no matter how good they are, or even if you don't have faith in anybody else other than Jasprit Bumrah, even then 420 on any condition is not going to be easy. But why even allow them that luxury? If I'm captain, I'm not giving that luxury at all. So batting 1 more hour, that will leave them with 2.5 sort of a session in a test match where no matter how you bat, you're not going to be chasing 450 odd, which India would get by that time. So then I have the chance of putting pressure. 1 or 2 beauties by Jasprit Bumrah, 1 or 2 stupid shots by England players, which they will play because they have to show they play baseball. You're in the game. Final session, you need 4 wickets or 3 wickets. Imagine. Game on.
See, while I think it was a bit of a... It was... Let me put it this way, that we know India's not going to be that adventurous. Had it been England, England would have been adventurous enough, and maybe they would have gone, put themselves a target. We saw that in the Ashes. They did that mindless declaration, and they paid a price for it because they were.
So I didn't agree. I didn't disagree with you that England would not do it.
No.
I disagree with you saying adventurous. That's not adventurous. That's
misadventurous.
Stupidity, my friend. And they've already paid a price for that.
Yeah, they have.
So if you were to do that, being adventurous is, okay, I'll give you a target which you can chase, as I said, 430, 440, and now come on, let's go. I have a chance to get you wickets. But if you have a chance to shut the door on them and not allow them a victory at all, you have to secure that first. You have to be thinking of that. So I doubt that they're going to be doing that. Okay, let's head into... Who do you want to start with? KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant?
KL Rahul, I think the prediction has come true.
Yeah.
100?
I want to tell everyone, it was not on camera, but you can ask Gulati. He was there. When he was on 20 odd, I said it's a KL Rahul 100. And it was also based on not just how he was looking in this inning, but how he looked in the first inning. And also I based it on the fact that the regret I saw in him after that first innings, getting out, looking so good, I knew that he will try his best not to make a silly mistake. And if he does not do it in these conditions, the compactness that he's shown, the assuredness that he's shown, that was 100 for the taking. I wish I had said it on camera, then I could have.
There's one thing that I said on camera and I stand by it. I picked him to be India's best batter this series. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Picked him to get the most runs.
He's already a level terms, but though he's still not India's best batter.
It is Rishabh
Pant
Pant.
has scored over 250 odd
It's
runs in
Rishabh
this
Pant.
match.
Yeah.
No, but imagine, see, this is even before this day started, I heard from the English camp, whether it was their former players or the current players, they themselves said when they came up at the press conference that happened yesterday, that even though you had a Rishabh Pant who had been impactful, everyone said KL Rahul, and Gill was also batting at that time, let's not forget. The English camp said KL Rahul's wicket's going to be most important for us. That will decide where this test match goes. So I think the opposition there also knew that his wicket will ensure stability, because if we can get him out, maybe they might panic.
Exactly.
And
It
that's
is.
what he did.
I think as this particular session wore on, you realized in that body language of that English side that they rued every moment of having dropped that KL Rahul catch. Rishabh Pant's not stability. Rishabh Pant in 20 overs, 25 minutes in that quick burst, especially when Bashir started to bowl more at him. We saw with Rishabh Pant, it's 25 minutes. If he's there on the crease, he changes the match. Rishabh Pant is different from a KL Rahul in the sense that KL Rahul is very attritional that way. He will tire you out. He will play conventional textbook cricket. His approach is very sorted. It's very simple, straightforward. You know, he's not going to be dancing down the track. You know, he's not going to be going for extravagant shots. It's on most days his own folly that he ends up giving his wicket or some technical adjustment here and there.
Those most days are very often.
Exactly the problem with KL Rahul as a cricketer. But now there's so much, and we've talked about it in the grander scheme of things. If you look at it, it's a different series for him than the ones that he's had in the past. In a way, blessing in disguise that there aren't too many people breathing down his neck, and he's not competing with the captain. He was competing with the captain for a spot at the top. Regardless of how the captain was doing, his form was scrutinized differently because he had no captain's armband on his arm. So all of these things put together probably have freed him, and he's realized because Shubman Gill a couple of times said that giving players that security is the key. If he's been given that security, if he's been assured that he is going to be the fulcrum of this team in transition and a senior batter who the team will look up to, no real competition, no real insecurity, perhaps all of that will get the best out of him in the next few months.
Just solve that mystery for me.
Which one?
For a batter who has got 9 test hundreds, 6 of them in Sena countries.
The most, by the way,
In his career, for a batter with this much talent, he should have been a non-negotiable in India's test match team. But he was not. He was dispensable. He was droppable. He was dropped till very recently in and out of the team. And I'm not saying that what was done to him was unfair.
Yeah.
I think he had reached a stage where he needed to be dropped as well. But that is where the paradox is. For a man with this much talent who can get you hundreds in tough situations, tough conditions, 6 Sena hundreds, which so many greats don't have through their career.
The most.
How is he not been a consistent member of
It
India's
is
test
the most, just to add to all of that and give this more weight as to what we've lost in KL Rahul, the cricketer. I think we've lost more than we've gained. That's safe to say, I believe.
Yeah,
but
with the talent that he had.
exactly.
you lost,
Sunny G had 15 Sena hundreds. He's the second highest with 6
Wow.
as an opener. as an opener. That's the asterisk over there. But that number's big enough for you to understand the importance of this guy. 2 of those centuries back, consecutive tours in Centurion, as we so
More
often.
than Virender Sehwag.
More than Virender Sehwag, 3-4, I think.
Easily. I think in case of KL Rahul, he only has himself to blame. For all the
Agreed.
inconsistency that he has shown over the last few years in Test cricket. You talk about him having more than a decade of a Test career now. About, I think, 60 odd matches, average of 35, 36. When he gets going, I think he's the best batter. He's the most beautiful batter that you would want to witness. But when he's out of form, you would want, let's just replace him with someone else. So with all the inconsistency, I think he only has himself to blame. And also, I think one more thing here that we've often, I think, talked about is, and last year was the time when we talked a lot about it, his batting position also changed a lot. So that's also, I think, one of the factors that you are trying to adjust a batter into a team. You'd say, let's just have you as a opener, let's just have you as a number 3 or a number 4 and a number 6. I still remember that conversation that I think Kohli and Shastri had with him ahead of the 2021 England tour, that they were saying that, listen, you are going to be acting as a middle order batter because you play spin well, and that's where we are looking at you. Mayank Agarwal had that concussion injury, and then it was kind of funny, for both Kohli and Shastri to just walk up to him and tell him that, boss, we are now looking up to you as an opener. So I think
I was far off. Just look at the last series.
Yeah.
Starts off as an opener, then
but the point
get
is
middle
that
order.
he has always been that yes man, and sometimes being a yes man has its own consequences.
No, maybe now there will be no question of yes man for that matter. Again, the only thing that I'm going to be careful about every time you make a KL Rahul prediction, because he tends to start really well. Even BGT started well and then he tapered off after that. He's had a fantastic start with a 40 odd in the first inning, and now probably a match winning or a match saving 100, whichever way you look at it. But then I hope that, the only problem with him has been consistency. So these highs are there, and then you get those troughs as well, which has been the problem with KL. I hope that doesn't happen. Who knows? We're looking for signs. Maybe he's become a daddy. This is first test match after that, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Calmness, mature, more relaxed.
100, I think, in the IPL as well. And by that time, was he...
Test match.
Test, I agree.
See, and look at him. He seems like, with all the criticism that comes his way in white ball cricket, that's fair also on a lot of occasions. But he's made for test match cricket, at least the kind of batter that he is, so compact. I mean, despite all the partisanship that the Sky commentary shows, I heard, was it Atherton or Nas? One of them said that got the best cover drive that there is in international cricket at the moment. And that in itself is high praise. There are a lot of competitors. Maybe he said it because Virat now doesn't play. So So now you can say Babar Azam fans can
really have to zoom out and think about this one, because there's so many good batters.
No.
They were very pleasing. No doubt about that.
You just have to, you got to understand the larger sentiment. So he is outstanding and you expected something out of him. I hope this is that turning of the corner for him. Not in terms of getting 100, which he has 9 of them, but in terms of being consistent. Let it not just be one moment and then you have failures and then you're looking at having him drop. Okay. Before the play starts, Rishabh Pant. We kept talking about how this is a different version of Rishabh Pant. In this inning, he's showing us, just caution, that aggression is not coming. He's tried a few times. It's not successful. So maybe he'll change his approach. Maybe this will be a very different 100. His 8 test 100 will be so different that we'll talk about it for a long time, because he'll play in a completely different gear. Guess what? Rishabh Pant came and Rishabh Pant said, hold my coffee. I'm going to be the Rishabh Pant that I always am. I will play my way. And boy, if there is one player who has that ability to take a test match away from you in one session, I don't need to say his name. He just showed it to us. That one session, incredible.
I think twin tons in a match, and that too, irrespective of the conditions, that is a remarkable feat, to say the least.
By the way, first wicketkeeper batter in history to get 2 centuries in both innings of a test match in an overseas test. So the only other wicketkeeper batter who's done it is Andy Flower, but he did it at home. So it's not even Indian or anything, because commentary did not point that out. He's the first wicketkeeper batter in history to get 100 in both innings of an overseas test match. Nobody has done it. Though when I put that fact out, somebody on Twitter pointed out Andy Flower. I said, but I have written overseas. He said, but Andy Flower was born in Cape Town, so Shubham Garg, and his 100 game in Harare. So no, of course he was joking. So even that stat they were wishing to change. But yeah, what a knock. What an absolutely outstanding knock. And as I said, he's box office, no matter, whether he's wicket keeping, whether he's batting, and the way he took on the bowlers. In fact, I was looking at some sixes, 8 or 9, and no other overseas player again has ever in history has come to England and hit so many sixes in a test match as much as Rishabh has hit here. The only other 2 players who are, I think, level on him are players from England. Ben Stokes is one of them.
Reminds me of a stat that I saw. Let me just cross-check that before I
that knock. Incredible.
Okay, let's take a couple of comments. Deepthi is saying in 2014, an Indian Test captain scored 100 in both innings in first Test. Today, another deserving Indian captain has again scored 100 in both innings.
I will say to Deepthi, I and all of us here were very vocal supporters of making Rishabh Pant the Test captain.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah,
check
he was
it out.
after Jasprit Bumrah. That was, I think, our unanimous pick.
Yeah, Rishabh Pant was.
Rishabh Pant was.
Yeah, I mean, now that Gill is captain, we wish him all the very best. He's also smashed 100 in the first inning. Let's not get that, wrong. But I feel in terms of your most impactful player for some time to come, and has been for some time now, it'll still remain Rishabh Pant. Make him vice captain or don't make him any captain, he'll still be. You can't deny that. He will be that.
Shubham Garg, and I think that's when we will wrap up. KL is a perfect example. If you have above average Sena record, still you won't have good overall record, as home ranked turner pitches don't give you 60 plus average.
No, but the issue with KL has been overseas also. He gets those hundreds and then he kind of dozes off. Looking so good, and you'll be like, wow, and then dozes off and doesn't produce those kind of performances consistently. And when I talk about overseas, it's not just limited to Sena countries. I know he has 100 in Colombo as well. But overall, wherever he plays, he needs to, really
now it's getting
be
interesting.
consistent.
I see there's a bit of a rough now developing there, but she is getting some sharp turn if you're landing the ball outside the off around that sort of rough that's developed.
But that rough can only be exploited by a right-hand bowler, no?
Which
Jadeja. Maybe they'll tell Shardul to bowl spin, and maybe that way he'll get some overs, because otherwise you're not giving him. No, with the pitch, the way it's playing out, there was a bit of grip for Jadeja as well. And now it looks like it'll be easily 400 plus sort of a total that is set. Yeah. The pressure and the pitch, whatever wear and tear, it'll still be a good pitch to bat on. It'll be on England. Though I still feel it'll be a draw. Heart of hearts.
Let's see.
I think so. But again, important session coming up. This is my daily reminder to Siddharth that when you say important session, it always... And why I say it? Because we've gone through it multiple times before, and that's when I realized, be very careful. Important session. You will be forced to say it again and
Every session's important and crucial at the same time.
Okay, Sarat Chandra is saying 110 runs in 25 overs. Give them 5-7 overs and hope for 1 wicket. Good point, Sarat Chandra.
Need to get at least, I think, 460, 470.
Yeah, it's not going to happen today. Yeah. GGK says, thought we would win 3-1, but looks like 4-0 if no rain issues, then 5-0. England bowling weakest ever. GGK, don't get carried away, my friend. This match is also not over. Don't get carried away. See, whatever highs, lows, we're celebrating hundreds, we're celebrating Bumrah. There is a good possibility that this test match is over. You go to the next venue and you start from scratch. That is 0-0 still. All of this, in that sense, won't count towards series moving anywhere. It is possible. So don't get ahead of yourself. Ashish Chandelier is saying, Iksa, are you betting with me that India will declare today? If I win, a shout out for me, and if you win, whatever you decide. Ashish Chandelier, done. Shout out to Ashish and Sarak Chandra if that happens. I'm putting my neck on the line saying India not declaring today.
+1 to what you are saying.
Okay. Rohit R says, what's with left-handed batters? All of them are mavericks. Gilchrist, Sanat Jayasuriya, Travis Head, Matthew Hayden, Brian Lara, Rishabh Pant. That is true. That is actually true. There are right-hand mavericks also. MS Dhoni, Virendra Sehwag. Some of them I can think of.
Rashad Dalla.
Yeah,
That's a
Maverick
very
for
bad
sure.
joke.
Maverick
Not
for sure.
batter.
Test cricket.
Yeah, so, but you're right again. Some of the most adventurous, aggressive batters are in that list. All of them left-handers. Good point, Rohit R. Mr. Creator says Rahul's away average in Test is less than his home Test average. What good Senna record. Although I agree he played good innings today. No, but that's exactly what my point was earlier. That his problem is not just Indian conditions. Problem is overseas as well. He gets those hundreds, but the consistency is not there. That's exactly what I spoke to when somebody pointed out that he can't get good average because Indian home conditions aren't great. I did talk about that. The problem has been away or at home, consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency is an issue. Pranit Datta says, lots of people wanted to drop Pant after just a bad series. Shows how idiotic experts can be. Pant has been India's best Test batter. He is India's match winner. It's unfortunate that he is not India's Test captain. Probably we 100% agree. But who are the people who wanted him dropped? Like
From Test.
I
From
don't know. I
Test?
don't consume content
No,
anyway.
no.
I only know of people here in Sports Today studio. Every one of us here wanted him captain. Forget about being dropped. But was there anyone
No.
on social
At
media
least-
or former player or
I
someone?
don't think so.
See, there have to be confusing
Test
formats
cricket,
then.
Yeah, from Test cricket, he cannot be dropped. It's
Yeah,
as
but
simple
did
as
anyone
that.
mention it? Did you?
Can't remember.
Neither can I. Do mention next time, Pranit, who are the ones, and send us screenshots if you have of anyone. I'd be very surprised if anyone ever thought that. Okay, on that note, Ashidhar says if India had taken catches, lead would be 450 now.
That is true.
But if England had taken catches, maybe they would be batting also.
Yeah, it's like any sport, it's a game of ifs and buts. But see, if you ask which team was more awful in the field, perhaps the Indian team.
Agreed. India
And
was.
this is what India will rue, I feel, at the end. That had those catches been taken, had you been more sharp in the gully and the slip cordon,
Agreed.
what could have been then? Anyhow, we shall say goodbye to you, but only for now. We will meet you in exactly a couple of hours' time from now. Enjoy the action, and we'll see you at the end of day's play. And let us know in the comments what is it that you think. Is there a declaration coming or not? As always, we look forward to your thoughts. See you, take care, bye bye, have your dinner, and we'll see you later.